The world we live in is not supposed to look like this. Across the planet, there are places so extreme that they are hard to believe they are real, as if they stepped straight out of science fiction. Shaped by brutal climates, relentless time, and natural forces far beyond human control, these places exist where logic says they should not. Some are fragile wonders that are slowly disappearing. Others stand in environments so harsh that survival itself feels impossible. From alien-like landscapes and dizzying heights to places that challenge courage, reason, and belief, these are not myths or digital illusions. They are real. This is impossible world, where the most unbelievable places on Earth truly exist. Panagia Hozoviotissa is the second oldest monastery in Greece, a singular hanging wonder anchored directly into a sheer cliff on the island of Amorgos at an elevation of about 984 feet above the Aegean Sea. The 8-story structure defies logic, with a length of roughly 131 feet, while sections of its width narrow to only about 16 feet, merging almost seamlessly with the vertical rock face. The monastery has remained continuously active for nearly 1,000 years, and is currently maintained by only 3 monks living in isolation amid ocean winds and extreme terrain. According to tradition, the entire structure was built to protect a sacred icon believed to have drifted from Palestine aboard an unmanned vessel to escape destruction. To reach the monastery, visitors must climb more than 300 steep stone steps, leading to a low doorway that forces everyone to bow upon entry. An iron chisel, left by an 11th century builder, remained embedded in the cliff and suspended at this height for over 900 years, before falling in the year 1956. Legzira is a geological sanctuary located in southern Morocco, home to gigantic red sandstone arches, hailed as natural sculptural masterpieces of nature. Stretching over 8 miles of pristine coastline, these arches stood for millions of years until one of the 2 eternal symbols collapsed completely in 2016, leaving behind an astonishing gap. The remaining arch resembles the leg of a giant elephant, stepping into the sea and both locals and visitors commonly refer to it by this familiar name. The paths through the arches only reveal themselves during low tide, making this place a world accessible only at the ocean's mercy. Mount Nemrut is a monumental tomb sanctuary located on a mountain summit rising about 7,000 feet in Turkey, often referred to as the eighth wonder of the ancient world. The summit itself is an artificial construction formed from millions of fist-sized limestone fragments piled into a conical mound roughly 160 feet tall to conceal and protect the unknown burial chamber beneath. Scattered across the plateau are colossal stone heads weighing several tons, representing gods and kings that have fallen from their bodies and now lie like a graveyard of giants. To complete the site, in the 1st century before Christ, builders transported and carved stone blocks weighing up to 20,000 pounds at extreme altitude without trails or mechanical technology. The site preserves one of the earliest known stone star maps recording the precise alignment of planets and stars on a specific day in the year 62 before Christ. It is also the only place on Earth where a mortal king depicted himself seated alongside Zeus and Apollo while designing a rock collapse system that has kept his tomb sealed and inaccessible. Would you believe that an ancient bridge was once submerged underwater, then dismantled stone by stone and moved 5 kilometers away to be reborn? That is Arslanagic, a miraculous mobile masterpiece in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Before being rescued, the bridge lay beneath a man-made reservoir for over a year, while its stone arches still mirrored perfectly on the glass-like surface of the Trebishnica River. Built in the 16th century, without modern cement, Ottoman engineers used grooved stones, iron rods, and molten lead to fuse the massive blocks strong enough to withstand natural disasters and wartime explosives. Despite its brilliance, Arslanagic was denied World Heritage status because it no longer stands in its original location and had to give up the highest honor an ancient structure can receive in order to survive today. Aksu Canyon is called the Grand Canyon of Central Asia, a massive geological fracture slicing through the Kazakh steppe and recognized by UNESCO as a World Natural Heritage Site. The canyon is carved from vertical gray limestone cliffs resembling ancient fortress walls tightly enclosing the winding Aksu River. Over millions of years, tectonic shifts and relentless water erosion have sculpted a stone labyrinth plunging as deep as 1,600 feet, enough to swallow the tallest skyscrapers on Earth. The Aksu River flows like a ribbon of milky turquoise, creating a rare visual contrast against the dry gray canyon walls. In some sections, the canyon narrows to just a single leap across, while directly below lies a vertical drop deep enough to overwhelm the senses. Every April, the cliffs erupt in red, with Grieg tulips, the wild ancestors of all modern tulip species, before they were ever brought to the Netherlands. Bartegay Lake is a man-made reservoir located in a valley surrounded by red rock mountains and arid plains in the Almaty region of Kazakhstan, about 116 miles east of the city of Almaty. The structure is internationally known for its dam discharge system, where water is released not by surface overflow, but through two massive outlet pipes under high pressure, forming water columns rising more than 328 feet into the air. During summer and autumn, when water levels are lowered for irrigation, the lake bed is exposed, revealing cracked clay surfaces and elongated sandbands that form natural geological patterns. In winter, when irrigation operations stop and the outlets are shut down, the entire area becomes quiet, and the lake's surface can freeze completely. With a storage capacity of about 8.8 billion cubic feet of water, Bartegay Lake regulates irrigation for more than 370,000 acres of agricultural land downstream. Meandri Chahotin is a surreal water maze hidden in Montenegro, famous for its sharp and mysterious twists. It is a miraculous creation of nature, where the river bends itself, forming almost closed 180-degree loops surrounding massive limestone blocks. Part of this surreal landscape was created by humans when a hydroelectric dam was built in the 1980s, causing the water to rise and flood the valleys, unintentionally amplifying small river bends into massive water highways. The river stretches across a gorge hundreds of feet deep, making sharp turns with geometric precision, with the turquoise water contrasting against the white-gray of the towering cliffs. From the observation point, you will lose all sense of direction, as the winding river makes it impossible to tell which way is upstream or downstream. In autumn, the surrounding forest turns brilliant shades of red and gold, creating a surreal oil painting-like scene with the green river running through it.
Candovan es una aldea ancestral con aproximadamente 700 años de antigüedad en Irán y es el único lugar en la Tierra donde la gente sigue viviendo dentro de enormes pilares de roca volcánica. El paisaje surrealista fue moldeado a partir de ceniza y lava del monte Sahand, esculpido por el viento y la lluvia durante millones de años en formaciones rocosas densas con forma de cono. Las viviendas aquí no se construyen, sino que se excavan directamente en la roca sólida, formando interiores de varios niveles que pueden alcanzar hasta 4 plantas de profundidad dentro de la montaña. Estas paredes volcánicas actúan como un sistema natural de regulación térmica, manteniendo el interior cálido durante los inviernos nevados y fresco durante los veranos secos. Las puertas están pintadas con tintes extraídos de minerales volcánicos y plantas locales, mostrando tonos turquesa, rojos y amarillos como los únicos signos visibles de vida entre la piedra gris. Desde el siglo XIII, Candovan ha servido como refugio frente a las invasiones y continúa hoy en día como un fósil arquitectónico vivo que preserva la vida humana cotidiana.
Siri at Tiklopit is also known as the Eye of the One-Eyed Giant, a geological anomaly with one of the most surreal natural forms in Albania, hidden deep inside the isolated Kraba Canyon. The water appears to glow due to optical reflection caused by limestone minerals, producing an intense neon blue color even under low light conditions. When viewed from elevated rock ledges above the pool, takes on the shape of a deep blue heart set within a rugged limestone landscape. Despite a surface area of only about 4,000 square feet, the basin conceals a vertical depth reaching nearly 400 feet, forming a massive water column plunging into the ground. Deep grooves etched into the surrounding rock walls are believed by locals to be claw marks left by the giant of legend as he fell into the abyss. Altyn Emel National Park is known as a surreal sanctuary where a unique sand dune has remained immobile for thousands of years despite the most violent desert storms. The region functions as a vast geological museum with vividly colored mountains formed from ancient marine sediments and solidified volcanic lava arranged in white, red, and orange bands. At its core rises a massive sand body about 500 feet high that emits deep rumbling sounds similar to a jet engine whenever wind blows or people move across its surface. Within the park's area of roughly 1,800 square miles, layered, multicolored cliffs preserve fossils of giant species that vanished long ago. In terrain that appears lifeless, ancient willow trees around 700 years old still survive with root systems penetrating deep underground. The landscape is also known as the Valley of the Kings, containing 31 large burial mounds of ancient Saka warriors scattered across the steppe. Blagaj Tekke is a 600-year-old dervish monastery dubbed the most surreal meeting point on the planet, where ancient Ottoman architecture rests under a 656-foot limestone cliff. Local legend tells of a dragon that once lived in the Vrelo Bune cave, demanding a virgin sacrifice each year until a hero named Saltuk killed it. The construction of dervish monasteries in Bosnia is based on 7 principles connecting humanity to the universe, the house, the stairs, the water, the stone, the river source, the tomb, and the cave. Every second, 43,000 liters of water surge from the cave entrance with tremendous pressure, and although divers have explored over 2,600 feet into the frigid 50 degrees Fahrenheit underground cave system, they have yet to fully uncover it. Sufi monks are famous for their body movement rituals, particularly the whirling dance believed to have a spiritual connection with the hypnotic whirlpools of the Buna Spring right next to it. Belogradchik Fortress is one of the strangest structures in Europe, where over 70% of its defensive formation consists of natural red rock pillars reaching heights of up to 656 feet. In thick valley fog, the entire fortress appears to float in mid-air, surrounded by bizarre formations shaped like the Virgin Mary, a horseman, Adam and Eve, and towering mushroom columns. Ancient engineers only needed to build 2 additional walls across open gaps to complete what nature had already sculpted more than 230 million years ago. With walls nearly 7 feet thick, the fortress has endured for over 1,700 years through the Roman, Bulgarian, and Ottoman empires, resisting even the most destructive cannons of the time. The entire complex merges geology and military architecture so completely that it earned the nickname Parasitic Fortress for clinging to the natural cliffs. In 2007, the site was nominated for the new 7 Wonders of Nature and received widespread public support worldwide. Peperikon is a legendary stone city located in Bulgaria, often referred to as the Machu Picchu of Europe, and recognized as the largest monolithic stone architectural complex on the Balkan Peninsula. The site is recorded as one of the world's oldest, continuously inhabited locations, with evidence of settlement beginning in the Neolithic period around 5,000 years before Christ. Instead of brick or mortar construction, the entire urban layout, including multi-level palaces, streets, and drainage systems, was carved directly into a massive rock formation. The complex includes a sanctuary dedicated to Dionysus, regarded as one of the 2 major prophetic centers of the ancient world, where divination rituals were performed on stone altars. Continuous occupation at Peperikon extends for more than 8,000 years and spans at least 5 distinct civilizations from the Neolithic era through the Middle Ages. Archaeological excavations have uncovered hundreds of circular ritual pits and deep tomb chambers cut into the rock, with the full scale of the site becoming widely recognized only after major excavations around the year 2000. Una National Park is known as the Sanctuary of Silver Waterfalls in Bosnia and Herzegovina, home to Europe's purest river, with a brilliant emerald green color so vivid it seems surreal. The waterfall cascade structure stretches over 2,600 feet, entirely formed by giant freshwater coral reefs, a living stone that self-grows and forms eternal water walls. The Una River maintains its emerald green color so clear that the bottom can be seen even at depths of dozens of feet. The power of nature at Una is evident in the massive waterfalls that rise up to 80 feet high, with a water flow of hundreds of cubic meters per second. It is also home to the blind salamander species, Olm, known as the Child of Dragons, capable of fasting for up to 10 years and living over a century. Locals still use medieval washing machines, taking advantage of the natural whirlpools of the falls to wash giant carpets in just minutes without electricity. Orlovi Skali is the most mysterious stone monument of the ancient Thracian civilization, featuring the densest network of trapezoidal cavities ever discovered on Earth. This volcanic rock face rises 30 feet and is carved with nearly 100 perfectly shaped trapezoidal cavities hand-carved into solid rock since the 5th century BC. These geometric shapes are not the result of natural erosion, but were created by ancient carving techniques, transforming the rock face into a structure that appears almost futuristic. Exactly 97 cavities remain, each averaging about 28 inches high and 12 inches deep, arranged in a complex astronomical pattern that modern mathematicians still debate for its accuracy. The area also features strange stone grooves believed to have been used for ritual blood sacrifices or wine offerings running along the mountain slopes like artificial veins. Ovich Fortress is often described as a floating stone fleet on land, positioned atop a massive rock plateau surrounded by sheer vertical cliffs on all sides. A wooden bridge, stretching about 492 feet, spans open air, connecting two vertical rock faces and forming the only access suspended above a chasm dozens of feet deep. The entire fortress functions as an isolated stone island, with defensive walls running along the cliff edges without any modern foundation systems. Ancient builders drilled through solid limestone to create a water well nearly 259 feet deep, equivalent to a 25-story building, ensuring survival during prolonged sieges. The plateau serves as habitat for the rare Egyptian vulture, which circles rock niches and dark caves once used as medieval prison chambers. Access from the town requires climbing a spiral staircase of metal and wood, with 111 steps anchored directly into the vertical cliff. The Ili River is referred to as the lifeline of Central Asia and is the only river that sustains a large lake with a clearly contrasting structure between freshwater and saline sections at its downstream end. Originating from permanent glaciers of the Tian Shan Mountains, the river flows for several hundred miles across arid terrain and forms a continuous green ecological corridor through desert regions. In plateau sections, the river channel is often bordered by steep rock walls with irregular shapes produced by millions of years of weathering processes. Along the riverbanks occurs the phenomenon known as the singing dunes, where sand masses rising to about 492 feet emit low-frequency sounds when wind passes over them, despite remaining largely fixed in place over long periods. The Ili River is the primary water source for Lake Balkhash, and without this inflow, the lake would rapidly lose water volume and hydrological stability. The river is also known as habitat for giant whales catfish, with individuals documented at weights exceeding about 220 pounds and lengths greater than roughly 6.6 feet. Lake Urmia lies on the northwestern Iranian plateau and is often called the Dead Sea of the Middle East, once ranking among the largest and most unusual salt lakes on Earth. The lake's surface can rapidly change color from turquoise to deep red after prolonged heat waves due to the proliferation of salt-tolerant microorganisms in mineral-rich water. Mineral concentration is so high that salt not only dissolves but crystallizes into sharp white salt formations that coat rocks, wooden posts, and exposed structures. Rapid water loss has created vast salt plains marked by rusting ship remains stranded several miles from the present shoreline. Constantine is known as the City of Hanging Bridges, a rare ancient city built entirely on a massive limestone rock, isolated from the surrounding land by a sheer, deep gorge. The city is encircled by the Rumel Gorge, where the river has eroded limestone over millions of years, forming a natural fortress with cliff walls reaching about 656 feet in height. Urban circulation here depends directly on bridges spanning the chasm, with a total of 8 main bridges linking the rocky city core to surrounding areas. Several bridges are reserved for pedestrians and exhibit strong movement during high winds, requiring residents to routinely adapt to travel at extreme elevation. Sidi Masjid Bridge, inaugurated in April 1912, was once the highest bridge in the world, suspended at roughly 574 feet and supported by steel cable bundles anchored into the limestone bedrock. Sidi Rachid Bridge is composed of 27 large stone arches stacked along the gorge edge, while directly below the modern bridges, the Rumel River forms waterfalls plunging into the canyon. Porto Palermo Castle is considered a unique triangular fortress positioned precisely between a peninsula and a small island rising from the Ionian Sea. The structure follows an almost perfect equilateral triangle layout with 3 massive cylindrical bastions at each corner and stone walls exceeding 5 feet in thickness, designed for pre-modern warfare. Directly beneath the ancient stone base lies another military layer of history, a submarine tunnel stretching about 2,100 feet, carved through solid rock, and used as a secret base during the Cold War. Local tradition attributes the fortress to Ali Pasha, the 19th century ruler of the region, who is said to have commissioned it as a gift for his wife, Vasilike. Defensive priorities shaped the design, leaving almost no large windows at lower levels and limiting all external access to a single main gate and narrow firing slits. Although built under the Ottoman Empire, the fortress is believed to have been designed by French engineers who, according to historical accounts, were executed after completion to keep the internal structure secret. Keshem is often described as a geological planet rising from the Persian Gulf, with an overall shape resembling a swimming dolphin and hosting Namakdan, the longest salt cave in the world. What makes the island truly impossible is its limestone canyons eroded into strange and ghost-like forms by millions of years of wind and water. Beneath the arid surface lies more than 19,000 feet of pure salt labyrinths, while the surrounding rock cliffs have remained stable for over 500 million years of geological history. The island itself is a massive sedimentary body pushed upward from the ocean floor by the collision between the Arabian and Eurasian tectonic plates, creating twisted rock folds and salt domes piercing the Earth's crust. Sheshem also contains vast Hara mangrove forests, where trees submerge during high tide and expose root systems resembling walking legs when the water retreats. Located in the Béjaïa mountain region of Algeria, Kafrida Waterfall is a major waterfall in North Africa associated with limestone terrain and a distinct humid ecosystem. The name Kafrida originates from the ancient Latin term aqua frigida, meaning cold water, reflecting the unusually low temperature of the flow noted since ancient times. The waterfall is carved into a steep arched limestone cliff and plunges directly into a natural basin, forming a deep turquoise-colored pool below. This water source is valued and protected by local communities as an important natural resource of the region. Constant moisture around the falls allows rare ferns and mosses to grow directly on vertical rock faces, sustained by continuous water spray. Spina Longa is a bizarre, artificial island off the coast of Greece, once an impregnable military fortress before becoming the last leper colony in Europe. To create this unbreakable fortress, 16th century Venetians used human labor to completely separate a massive limestone block from the mainland, turning it into a stone ship isolated in the sea. For 54 years, from 1903 to 1957, Spina Longa served as a prison for thousands of people suffering from leprosy, stripped of their citizenship, and considered legally dead. The fortress was so well defended that when the entire island of Crete fell, Spinalonga stood alone for an additional 46 years against the Ottoman Empire. Despite being abandoned, the residents built their own cinema, school, newspaper office, and electricity system with power even before many larger cities on the mainland. Ouzoud Waterfalls is the crown jewel of the High Atlas Mountains in Morocco, standing as the tallest waterfall in North Africa with a surreal beauty like a slice of paradise falling into the arid red land. The waterfall does not fall in a single stream, but splits into 3 vertical limestone tiers, each creating complex, zigzagging flows. The appearance of the eternal rainbow, trapped in a narrow gorge, adds a mystical touch, especially when the water turns blood red after heavy rain. With a height reaching 360 feet, the waterfall generates such force that the water spray rises dozens of feet, immediately cooling the surrounding air by 10 degrees Fahrenheit. This gorge is the domain of the wild Barbary monkeys, the only creatures to survive in this paradoxically wet environment, often seen as guards watching over the path to the base of the falls. At the base of the falls, handcrafted wooden boats in colors like green, red, purple, and yellow resemble Lego pieces, floating amidst the majestic nature, guiding you through the dense mist toward the heart of the waterfall's plunge. Miette National Park possesses an unprecedented geographical structure, being an island that contains a saltwater lake, and within the lake itself, another island rises, forming a mystical island within an island matrix. This challenges all definitions of a lake as an internal sea system, flows backward into the heart of the island through hidden, narrow canals. Beneath the emerald blue waters lies a massive limestone coral reef, creating an almost surreal beauty. Over 90% of the area is covered by dense, pristine pine and oak forests, making Miljet appear as a solid emerald block when viewed from above. To protect this paradise, the mongoose was introduced to the island to eliminate poisonous snakes, making it the only island where survival laws are upturned. In the epic Odyssey, it is believed that this is the place where the goddess Calypso trapped the hero Odysseus for 7 years, causing him to forget the way home. Chefchaouen is the only city in the world fully covered in deep ocean blue, from the buildings and alleys to the stairs, creating a sea on land. Located at an altitude of nearly 600 meters, in the arid Rift Mountains, the city is a labyrinth with thousands of narrow alleys and steep stairs. Everything in the Medina area is blue, from the walls' doors and stairs to the streets, disorienting visitors with the uniformity of color. To maintain this surreal hue under the scorching heat of North Africa, tens of thousands of residents must repaint the entire city by hand every year. Amidst this monochromatic blue space, thousands of local cats with golden fur and amber eyes appear at every corner, creating eerie, contrasting highlights. No historical document confirms why the city is blue, but some say it represents the color of heaven. Others claim it's to repel mosquitoes, or simply to soothe the intense heat of Morocco. The name Jahorina is closely tied to world sports history, most notably as the venue for the women's skiing events during the 1984 Winter Olympic Games. Jahorina features modern snow factory technology capable of producing artificial snow even when temperatures rise above freezing, ensuring the mountain is covered in snow even if the winter is not particularly cold. With its strategic location and ideal height of nearly 6,200 feet, Jaharina was once used as a military base and an important radio communications center before becoming a purely tourist destination. Here, there is a massive artificial lake which in winter provides water for snowmaking, but in summer, it transforms into a surreal check-in spot with crystal-clear water reflecting the sky. Jaharina also boasts one of Europe's longest alpine coasters, about 1.5 miles long, allowing visitors to speed down the slope at 25 miles per hour through pine forests. On average, Jaharina experiences up to 175 days of snow coverage each year, a record in the Balkan region. Krivica waterfall in Bosnia and Herzegovina is an impossible oasis located in the heart of the Balkans, where the Trebisjat River unexpectedly explodes into a 120-meter wide arc of water. The entire spectacle is formed from tufa, a living limestone that grows and forms magical stalactites beneath the waterfall. The Trebisjat River, which feeds the waterfall, follows a strange hydrological system, continuously sinking underground and resurfacing, changing its name 8 times along its length. Krivica consists of 20 separate waterfalls falling from a height of 25 meters into a perfect turquoise lake, creating a deep, booming sound that can shake the earth within a radius of hundreds of meters during flood season. The ecosystem here is an impregnable world, with ancient ferns and limestone caves where time seems to stand still. A curious phenomenon occurs as moss and algae growing on the surface of the waterfall not only decorate it, but also help accumulate more tufa, promoting the limestone precipitation process beneath them. Golubac Fortress is often described as an ancient stone beast, guarding the entrance to the Iron Gates Gorge on the Danube River, globally known for its surreal beauty and one of the most dangerous riverfront locations on Earth. The structure consists of 10 massive stone towers connected by winding defensive walls that cling directly to sheer cliffs, forming a single fortified mass fused with the terrain. Throughout medieval history, the fortress endured and repelled more than 120 major assaults, making it a prized objective for every dominant empire in the region. Its tallest tower resembles a giant octagonal helmet, and archaeologists still cannot determine which power originally laid its foundations. In the 20th century, a national highway was cut directly through the medieval gates, allowing modern vehicles to pass through the fortress itself until the road was fully relocated in the year 2017. Bjelašnica, known as the Frozen Throne of Bosnia and Herzegovina, is an extreme limestone desert recognized globally as one of the most grueling Olympic battlegrounds. The mountain is a massive karst formation with an eternally white surface where the terrain is torn apart by thousands of natural sinkholes and vertical cliffs. At its highest peak, a combination of high humidity and fierce winds creates the phenomenon known as horizontal ice, large ice formations growing from structures. Wind speeds here exceed 150 kilometers per hour, and temperature fluctuations can freeze a stream within minutes, even during the height of summer in the valleys below. The caves and deep fissures in Bjelašnica are so cold that snow remains frozen for decades, creating natural freezers that never melt. This is the only place on Earth where the Olympic ski tracks have been transformed into a dead zone filled with thousands of landmines and rusting helicopter wrecks. The Moracha River Canyon slices through Montenegro's limestone mountains, ranking among the steepest and most claustrophobic gorges on Earth. With depths exceeding 3,200 feet and over 30 hand-carved rock tunnels, the route creates an enclosed corridor where air pressure shifts constantly with each segment. The vertical terrain formed over millions of years as the Moracha River eroded the karst stone, sculpting nearly 90-degree cliffs rising from the emerald riverbed. During snowmelt season, waterfalls emerge not from mountaintops, but from caves suspended mid-cliff, plunging hundreds of feet straight into the Moracha's green waters. Humans achieved an impossible feat by carving both road and rail routes directly into the cliff face, one of the most dangerous mountain corridors in Europe's transport history. Mamula Fortress is a military structure of near-perfect circular form located on a small, isolated rocky island in the Adriatic Sea and once considered a strategic defensive point. It represents a rare fortress island design, where the massive stone construction occupies about 90% of the surface area, turning the entire island into a concentric, geometric structure floating on water. Built in the mid-19th century, the fortress features stone walls several feet thick and a defensive layout capable of stopping any naval fleet approaching the bay. During the 20th century, the site was used as a prison, consisting of sealed stone chambers and harsh living conditions. Today, several former prison cells have been converted into luxury accommodations while retaining the raw stone surfaces as part of the spatial experience. Pinara Cliff Necropolis is known as the honeycomb city of the Lycian civilization, one of the most monumental and mysterious cliff necropolises still standing in Turkey. The entire eastern face of a massive limestone mountain is pierced by hundreds of rectangular tombs suspended in mid-air, forming an almost gravity-defying structure. Many tombs are not simple cavities, but are intricately carved to resemble ancient wooden houses, complete with beams, windows, and porches reproduced in stone. With extreme density, more than 900 rock tombs were cut directly into near-vertical cliffs, making this site one of the most hazardous high-elevation construction zones in human history. Thousands of years ago, craftsmen suspended themselves by ropes from heights of several hundred feet, carving entirely by hand while hanging above open space. Pinara also contains a well-preserved ancient theatre set within pine forest, capable of seating about 3,200 people and overlooking the valley below.